First of all, welcome and thank you for joining us. What we're doing today is incredibly ambitious, and we're going to push Zoom to its absolute limits, and I think probably beyond that as well. I'm going to move my cat out the way. I thought I'd prepared for everything, but not
for the cats.
Not for the cat.
We've been live in the UK, in India, and around the world. And this year, we are live in your living room. Please welcome, live from his, Spencer Kelly.
Hello! I get real people! You're the first people I've seen in 9 months! Oh my goodness! Oh, look at you, you beautiful people! I can't tell you how brilliant this is. Oh my goodness. Welcome to Click at 20, a live celebration. We didn't think it would happen this year, but it is happening right now. This is so amazing. And I can see you all. You're looking beautiful. All right. So here's what's happening. Let me just re-explain what's happening, because this is a completely new thing that we're trying. And I'm still trying to get my head around it. Okay, there are, I don't know how many hundred people watching us on the live stream like right now. Let's call it 1 million, why not? But we can't see many of you, but we can, hopefully you can see us. But we do have our gorgeous live front row who we can all see and hear. Look at you. Pete, can we show everyone the front row? Give us a wave.
Hi,
Look at
Spencer.
this. Hello. So if you are on the front row, you need to switch to gallery view. If you are on the front row, you have the option. So switch to gallery view now, and you'll be able to see everyone else as well. Give us a wave. Give us a wave. Are you well? Are you okay?
Yeah, we're great. Thank you.
Oh, brilliant. Okay. I didn't catch a word of that, but thanks. So here we are then. They told us that we couldn't have a live show this year. And what do? We went ahead and had one anyway. And in some ways, this feels even more special than the live shows that we've been doing over the last few years. What a year it's been. Have you had a year? We've had a year, haven't we?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
This time last year, we had no idea what world we were stepping into. In December 2019, we had no idea what the world was about to change into. This is a world that's seen an unprecedented use of the word unprecedented, where the strength of your relationship with your other half now rests on how well they can cut your hair, and where no one has worn trousers to a business meeting since March. Seriously though, I do hope you're okay. This year more than any other, I've felt the need to connect with you guys. I've been doing lunchtime Twitter live streams. I started them back in March, and I know they've helped some of you. I have to say, they've definitely helped me. Who's here from Lunch Club? Shout out if you're here from Lunch Club. I can see you for the first time. There's David. Annalise, Michelle. Hi, Jacqueline and Angela. That's Angela's goof, who's actually Angela's woof. But didn't change her Twitter name. Oh my gosh, that's so good. This just feels so amazing. Thanks for being here today. I can't believe I'm crying already. We've got like 3 hours of this to get through. So normally at this time of year, we like to look back at our best bits from the last 12 months. But around the summer, it became obvious that no one's going to want to look back at 2020 ever. So we're not going to look back at 2020 because fortunately, this is the year when Click turned 20. So we thought we would look back at some of our fave moments ever. And we wanted to share them with you as a thank you for being with us on this crazy journey. We've been on air every week of every year since we launched. When this show goes out in January, it will be season 1, episode 1078. Well, yeah, let's hear it for the 1078. And what a wild ride it's been. I mean, I have got to do some amazing things. Run the video. I get to play with the best gadgets and meet the best guests and go to some awesome places, from the really, really hot to the really, really cold. In Japan, I went back to the future. At the Large Hadron Collider, I stared right into the heart of the Big Bang. They've sent me into space and lobbed me into the ocean. And I've seen robots do amazing things. I've played them at ping pong, I've attacked them with weaponry, danced the Gangnam Style with them, and been assaulted by a robot back support. But then I did climb inside a Dalek, ride a giant robot spider, and I really must stop abusing the technology. Hottest wearable ever, wrist-worn flamethrower, coldest shoot ever, filming the Alps in virtual reality. Most nerve-wracking shoot, smashing a glass bridge in China with a sledgehammer. Most eye-popping shoot, seeing an imaginary NASA Mars rover in augmented reality. A quick tip if you are using augmented reality, by the way, don't forget the objects that you can see aren't really there. And none of this would be possible without the amazing team in front and behind the camera. We're going to meet a few of them today. So first up, I need you to meet my mate, my co-host. She's my confidant, my pal. Please welcome Lara Lewington.
Yay! Oh, hello everybody. Hello.
It's Lara Lewington.
Hello Spencer. Hello everybody.
Nice to see you. Hi, Lara.
Nice to see you too. Spencer and I have spent a lot of time together on Zoom over the past month, and sometimes it's just been when we've been setting up the studio, getting ready for the day, chatting about our weekend. It's almost been like he has been here in the room for a lot of it. But today, you're all joining us too. This is absolutely brilliant, albeit in the style of 2020, which I know isn't quite the same, but I think we all just want to appreciate whatever the best is that we can do to make things feel normal. Now, as Pete told you before, we are trialling things here. We're really pushing Zoom to its limits, and we're not quite sure, as you've already seen, how this is going to play out. I'd love to know where you all are. I'm not sure if this is going to work, but make some noise if you're anywhere in Europe.
Yay!
Yay! There's people who are in Europe. Is there anyone in Asia?
Yay! Hello.
Only you. One person. Well, one person according to what Zoom's telling me now. North America? South America?
Nah, they're all asleep.
Now that's true. Surely they should be getting up for this. Aren't we worth it? Africa? Africa.
Yeah,
We've got someone in Africa. Welcome from Africa.
Lagos,
Antarctica.
Lagos.
Africa fabulous.
Wow.
Malawi.
In Lagos. Fantastic.
Yeah.
What a
Malawi
Christmas
right
tree you've got there.
Here from Lagos.
Lagos, baby.
Lagos, baby.
Lagos, baby.
Antarctica? Do we have anyone from
Malawi.
Antarctica? Malawi. Wow.
The Antarctica lot must be in, are
Well,
they,
it's
or are they busy
great
right
to
now?
have you all here, wherever you are. It's great that you've joined us. I do, however, have to share a secret with you. I already think it's not much of a secret, but please make sure that you don't tell any of your friends. If they haven't joined us, they don't deserve to hear. Even though we are this brilliant technology programme, technology fails us quite a bit. In fact, it does feel like technology maybe fails us more than anyone, but that might be because we are particularly ambitious with it. I'm running things here with a webcam underneath the real camera, a C300 there, and I've got a screen over there where I can see what's happening. You lot are over there. I'm using a Bluetooth mouse to scroll through the script, which keeps on stopping working when it feels like it. So if I suddenly stand here not speaking, it may be to do with that, or it may be that I can't hear you. So we're trying our best here, but things could potentially go a little bit wrong here and there.
Yeah.
We are making a telly show, so
They will.
fingers crossed.
They will go wrong, mate. And who knows? We might have already dropped out. We might just be talking to ourselves. Our connection might have frozen. We got no idea. Talking about your setup, I mean, some people know my setup. I've got a little camera over there that's recording. So in the TV program, you'll see you are all resting on my ironing board at the moment. You're all lined up there. I've got crates and boxes all over the place. Who knows how this is going to go? Lara, how has 2020 been for you? It's been a crazy, crazy year, hasn't it, for us?
Oh, of course it has. It's been a massive change to how we made the programme. One day we just suddenly packed up some kit, a click sign, brought it home and planned to do this from home. The stories that we cover are different.
We've really had to judge the public mood throughout. I think even by the week, just the feeling out there has changed so much. And we've wanted to make sure that the stories that we do are catering for that we're not doing things that seemed insensitive or that people wouldn't care about. And we also haven't wanted to overdo the coronavirus stuff. So we've been trying our best to get that right. But it has also been a little bit nerve-wracking doing this from home. There was one week at the very start where we shot the entire show, and at the end I got a call from our producer Talia to tell me that I was out of focus. I had to refilm the whole thing, just imagining that Spencer was talking.
Yeah. No, we're our own camera operators here, so you don't. It looks well. I assume it looks reasonably professional when we're on the air. But just before you see the bit that we're using, we're all going up to the cameras like this. We're making sure the wires are plugged in. We hit record. We sit back down. Then we've got to check all our wires are plugged in correctly. Our hair's in place, and then just as we get ready to record, the sun comes through the window, and we have to get up and change all the settings again on the camera. So.
Oh, don't talk to me about the light.
No, please don't talk to me about the light. So we've asked each of our Click fam to choose one or two of their favourite moments from their time on the programme to share with you. Let's go to the first of your choices, Lara. And I know that you've immediately gone for the other celeb that you've shared the screen with, apart from me. So, nothing personal, she says. Let's go back to 2016, please. And by the way, what happens when we play these bits of video is, if the audio is a bit patchy, it's because there's other noise on the line. So I'm sorry about that, but get the gist and laugh anyway. We're going to go back to 2016, where I got the feeling you were seeing someone else, Lara.
What can I say? Wow, it's Hacker T-Dog from CBBC.
Wow, it's Lara Lewington from BBC Click. Never heard of that. Pleasure's all mine, Cocker. Hacker T-Dog here, star of Small Screen for Small People, making my breakout presenting debut on Grown Up Telly. La 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 la. Hey!
So, normally it's us humans who get the great gadgets to play with, but this week I've got something for you guys. Ooh. So I wondered if you might be able to help me. There's even something to keep dogs fit and healthy.
Will it involve running about?
Yes, and you love that, right?
Not me, Cocker, no, I only do show business stuff. Here, look, check out my contract. I do not do running around. I sit down and I do jokes. That's all I do, Cocker.
Oh, I think we might need to find a real dog then. Whilst I go and look for one, could you make yourself useful?
Got it!
Oh, it's okay, Spencer, I prefer you. Although I did have a bit of a soft spot for Hacker, even though he really wasn't very nice to me. But the thing that I found utterly amazing, and I don't want to ruin the magic here, especially if there are any kids watching, but his owner, his manager, his puppeteer, I'm not quite sure what I call him.
Definitely his manager. I think it's his manager.
His manager. It's definitely his manager. He was so brilliant at just improvising. And you imagine that with a kids' TV show, everything is utterly scripted and so well planned. But it wasn't. He reacted so funnily to everything. It was fantastic. A pleasure to work with Hacker. Later that day, I had to go and work with some real dogs. They always say, don't work with animals or children. I would add technology to that list anyway. Of course, on this show you have to. But Hacker, what a pleasure.
All right, well, yeah, my ego's not completely crushed, but it's getting there. Thanks.
I prefer you, I prefer you. It's only because it was special. It was a one-off.
Yeah, whatever. Now, listen, do you remember the days, everyone, when we had separate devices for separate things? Yeah, I had a separate music player, I had a sat-nav in my car, used to carry around a camera. Do you remember cameras? How many do we carry around today? We just carry around just the phone. Well, way back in 2011, Lara did a report, I guess she must have been only 19.
12.
When Lara was already asking whether the smartphone could possibly kill off other gadgets. Here we go.
When your phone can play the part of a stills camera, video camera, calculator, alarm clock, running watch, MP3 player, sat-nav, games console, and more, why would you need to go to the trouble and expense of individual pieces of hardware when, on balance, they seem to do the same?
I think there's going to be new generations of sensors that will be connected to your smartphone, particularly monitoring your health, your bodily output. The tiny sensors we're going to see everywhere in the environment that will be tapping your blood pressure, your mood, the weather, how busy the traffic is, and they'll all feed into the cloud, and we will access that data wherever we are.
Whilst the smartphone is ultimately a compromised device, there's no end to the ingenuity tempting us to drain its battery ever faster. Take this lens mount, for example, which lets you use a standard camera lens to enhance its camera-taking potential. But as it masquerades as a jack of all trades, the smartphone will find it is, somewhat inevitably, the master of none.
What can I say? This was one of the first pieces I ever did for the show, and it is so weird looking back at what looked like technology of the future.
The guy was saying there that the phone would have biometric sensors to monitor our heart rate. And I remember it sounded ridiculous at the time. And now, of course, that's what the phones do.
This was the future, I guess. How many of us have a separate alarm clock or a calculator now? And even as someone who loves their DSLR, people always say the best camera you've got is the one that you've got on you. And of course, it's always my smartphone that I have. But those lenses, surely nobody ever bought one.
Well, I happen to have bought one, which screws onto your phone.
Of course you did.
And I have to tell you, it's not that good. Anyway.
Amazing. I can't believe you have one.
Get a big circle.
All right. Let's bring someone else on. Do you want to meet another member of the Click fam now?
Yes.
Okay. Who would you like to see? Call out a name.
Omar Carter.
Dan Simmons. Well, that's lucky, because he's someone who's been on the programme nearly as long as me. He's known for many things, but mainly for breaking things. They gave him an unbreakable phone, so he broke it. They gave him a rugged hard drive, so he shot at it. He is the unbreakable man. Please welcome Dan Simmons.
Hello, Dan.
Hello, mate.
Welcome, Dan.
How are you, Dan?
I'm very well, thank you very much. Very well. It's lovely to see those clips of Laura jogging and running around with spots.
Easy.
I was always jogging or in bed in the early days.
Always jogging or in bed, Laura. Always. Easy time.
At the same time.
I still am.
So, Dan's taken the year off, actually. What a year to take off, because everybody, Dan has become a daddy.
Hey. Congrats.
How is parenthood, especially in 2020?
Great, fantastic. I mean, I thought I was going to be in my own bubble. Turned out everybody is in their own bubble in 2020. So I didn't have FOMO, put it that way. No, it's been fantastic. It's great to take a year off and see him grow up. And he's crawling over towards me now, and I just knew he would be able to keep him out of this.
Oh, he wants to be on telly already. He's after your job. I'm a bit concerned that you have a baby there, considering that you break everything.
First click, baby.
Oh, hello.
Okay.
Yes.
Youngest member of Click.
Yeah, you realise we have to pay him a fee now.
It's true. He's going to.
And now he's appeared on the show. He's officially a member of the team.
He's officially a member of the team. We'll train him up.
I've got
we'll
some
definitely
baby
train him
gadgets
up.
here he could test.
Yeah, just send them over.
These baby gadgets.
Yeah, as soon as I get him talking, we'll get him on the show.
I've got a smart sock, but apparently babies always take their socks off.
All right.
So, Dan, you broke the unbreakable phone, you shot the hard drive, then in 2016, even after all that, you were given something even more spectacular to try and break.
Yeah, we travelled to central China to a place called Zhangjiajie, where they were busy making a glass bridge. It was the world's longest glass bridge at the time. And I got chatting with the president of the company that had built it. And there have been a few scare stories of glass bridges breaking around China, with them rushing to get it up to get the tourists in. And I said, I'm not entirely sure it's safe. So he said, well, okay, I'll let you try and prove that it's not.
Tucked away on the edge of this World Heritage Site, someone's decided to build a bridge from the middle of nowhere to the middle of nowhere. Unlike me, they hope the thousands of visitors that will come here won't be too scared to look down. 300 metres through the world's highest glass walkway. more than 300 engineers have worked through all weather conditions to build what's also the world's longest glass-bottomed bridge, a breathtaking 430 metres, crossing Zhangjiajie's Grand Canyon. Our hosts were keen to show me just how safe I was. Each panel of the walkway has 3 layers of toughened glass held together by glue.
Well, the President has given me a hammer and said that even if I can get through all 3 layers of glass, I won't fall through. Here goes. And it looks like you can see the top glass has shattered here.
3.
Do you know what? I think this might be safe.
I think it's safe, he says. I think it's safe. So Dan, what do you remember about that experience then?
It was a smashing experience, as one of the audience just said. Perfect.
Don't steal our
I
script.
can't believe anyone lets you go anywhere, Dan.
It was absolutely incredible. It was stunning. I mean, those pictures look stunning. It's a stunning part of the world. But yeah, it didn't break. It was fine. I did insist that the president of the bridge stand on the same bit of glass that I was standing on, just in case, just as an insurance policy. So it's all or nothing. But no, it stayed good and stayed strong. And we put that in our special China episodes, of which I think we had about 3 programs.
Yeah. So we're going to look at another bit of video now. I don't know whether anyone else is noticing this, and like I say, we're trying to work this out as we go. When we play the videos, sometimes the audio is being blocked out by other people commenting on it. So although we really want you to enjoy the show and everything, if while the videos are playing, if you can kind of have an internal monologue and then laugh all the right places. But we still want you to have a great time. But if that's what everyone else is getting as well, then maybe that's what we need to say.
I love Spencer's polite way of saying have an internal monologue.
Doesn't everyone have an internal monologue? I've got one going right now. And it's telling me shut up and get on with the show. Right, let's go further back then. Here we go. Back in 2007, Dan and I went to San Francisco looking for startups that were going to change the world, didn't we, Dan?
Yeah, we did, and we took a few quid with us, didn't we? But we decided to try and find. There we go. That is the $1 million.
That's $1 million
that we took with us to find a startup that we could invest in, because that's the way that it was done back in 2007. None of this Indiegogo. Or sort of yeah.
And who did we see and who did we not give the money to?
Well, we saw Twitter. We didn't give the money to Twitter, did we? Because we thought, oops. So we ended up giving the money to a fantastic
solar panel company
that was quite innovative at the time, that could track the sun without the solar panel actually moving, which we thought was great. But we also came across a few other companies while we were there as well, didn't we?
Just on that $1 million, by the way, I remember that we hired it from a prop company in San Francisco, and they nearly closed because our flight was so late that they nearly closed for the weekend. The whole program would have been out the window. Anyway, you found a startup that was making electric cars, and remember, this is a time when electric motors really did just mean milk floats and golf buggies. What was the name of the startup that you found?
It's a small startup. It was called Tesla, and they invited us along for me to try literally the 3rd car that they made. And it was a Roadster, of course, the first car that Tesla made back in 2007.
Yeah.
And we took it for a spin.
And here it comes.
There she is. This small Silicon Valley startup is finally putting the fizz into electrics. The Roadster has a good pedigree. Its ultra-light carbon fibre body is designed by Lotus, based on the Elise. Tesla has plans for a cheaper 4-door family saloon in 2009.
That is an exhilarating ride, and certainly one you do not expect from an electric car. But then this motor does hit 13,500 revs per minute. It's also futuristically quiet.
David had disappeared in the haze of the midday sun, and things were about to get even hotter. This is not a mirage. It's a madman's dream. The X1 is more of a concept car that Silicon Valley entrepreneur Ian Wright is using to raise eyebrows and money to build a proper sports car, because this is just a rocket. Whoa! The X1 goes from 0 to 60 miles per hour in the time it takes to say 0 to 60 miles per hour. It pulls 1G in a straight line, and apparently quite a bit more.
And apparently quite a bit more. It's all.
I don't know why, but when we started doing that film, I couldn't stop doing my Jeremy Clarkson impression, so I just went with it. I just went with it for the whole thing.
We actually, on the end credits of that programme, we did say Jeremy Clarkson, played by Dan Simmons. Tell us about the time you borrowed a Tesla and drove it to your parents, Dan.
Yeah, so a couple of years later, it came to the UK, and I got the chance to drive it for the day. And I took it to my parents, plugged it in, 3-pin plug into the wall, charged it up a bit, took it back out again, wrapped up the cable, jumped in the front seat, turned it on, nothing happening. Turned it off, turned it on, nothing happening. Phoned up Tesla HQ, who have all the telemetrics for the cars, and said, I'm really sorry, but I think I might have actually broken maybe your Tesla. It's not doing anything. They said, have you tried pressing the accelerator, Mr. Simmons? So I did, and the car moved. And I just thought, oh my God, these electric cars are something else.
Oh, but what a success. Did you have any idea back then of the success that Tesla may have?
Do you know what? I did have an inkling, and I'll tell you why I did, because of the performance. Tesla always went out right from the get-go to say, this. Yeah, we're not talking milk floats or golf carts. We are talking serious performance cars, and they just captured the imagination of the public. If you look at the X1, the other guy we saw in that video, Ian Wright, he was the co-founder of Tesla, but he went a different way and has been very successful building trucks and buses, bigger vehicles that also run on electric. So
I remember the X1. I took a ride in that as well, and I felt really sick after I got out of it because he was wanging it around all over the place. But the acceleration was so hard that my microphone cable got jammed in my seatbelt and broke. Luckily,
no, not you breaking things.
I know, I'm breaking things as well. I was with Dan, that's why. Yeah. Luckily, the next story we were filming was a guy in a garage who made robots as a hobby, so we asked him to resolder the wire for us. So that's what we do.
True story.
Anyway.
Oh, Dan, thank you so much for joining us. It's been wonderful to see you. Shall we get someone else on now?
Yeah, Dan, everybody. Okay, Pete, run the VT, please.
I've travelled across India with her on an oxen cart. She's ridden a VR skateboard, crashed into an interviewee on a Segway. She's put her hand inside a fake cat. She's done amazing things in her bath. Hair dried an iPad, presumably after she dropped it in, and she's been sucked into the time vortex. It's LJ Rich, everybody!
LJ, it's great to see you. What have you been up to over the past few months?
Oh, hello Lara, hello Sven, hello Click Team, and hello audience. I've been immersed in... Hello. It's great to see you all. I've been immersed in AI music creation, among other things. I got really into style transfer, where you mix two songs together. See, I can do it without computers, so how would an AI do? I programmed AI Queen to sing Let It Go from Frozen, and AI Beatles to sing Call Me Maybe.
Okay, can we listen to that now? I have no idea what it's going to sound like.
I just make music, baby, when it's not enough, call me maybe. Oh, it calls to the it's naturally what it does. It's my number. Call me lady, baby, it's hard to look.
So hang on. This is the Beatles doing Carly Rae Jepsen, yeah?
Yes.
This is a bit like audio deep fakes. So that where they fake a face, what they're doing here is they're fake. What are they doing? Listening to the Beatles and then getting it to re-sing something else.
It's exactly the way you put it. Audio deep fakes is a brilliant way to put it. The algorithm works by sampling tiny slices of audio from everything the Beatles ever made and then picks out things it thinks fits. And that's based on training models. And it takes 9 hours to make just 1 minute of music. So I was heavily supervising the model every 4 seconds into the early hours of the morning. So it's also an exercise in endurance.
Oh, LJ, that's brilliant. And also, it is just so you. AI and music, how more you could that be? Now, when we saw you a year ago, last Christmas, you told us that you were undergoing chemotherapy for cancer, and you actually made a piece for the programme where you really showed people what the process is. And I think for anybody who hasn't been through it themselves or doesn't have anybody close to them who has, it was really quite enlightening. So thank you for that. And a year on, how are you feeling?
Well, hundreds of people got in contact to say that our Click Chemotech video really helped them. So I'm very, very glad I did it. And it's a long road to recovery for me, but I'm so happy to tell you my treatment is now finished.
Good. So pleased, LJ.
Okay, brilliant. Okay, well, time for your fave moment on Click now, and you've chosen something from 2015. Now, you're a fan of VR, aren't you?
Oh, yes.
Okay, you're also a fan of roller coasters, aren't you?
Oh, yes.
So what did you do?
I went on a virtual roller coaster whilst going on a real roller coaster wearing a VR headset, and I got to do this for work.
Of course you did. Let's take a look then. Here we go.
Previous attempts at VR coaster solutions gave even hardcore ride enthusiasts motion sickness. So what's different about this one?
You have to keep very tightly synchronized to the real ride, so you don't approach into a virtual curve before the real ride does. And what we're doing is we are measuring the actual position on the track with a special sensor that is attached to the wheel of the coaster car. And we're transmitting the position wirelessly to the Gear VR headset.
Are you synchronized?
It does feel like, yes, I am synchronized. As a seasoned VR enthusiast, I was really not expecting this to work as well as it did. I was quite happy to be immersed in an animated, perfectly synced world. And it is immersive. I actually thought I was upside down at one point. Really, we were just leaning to one side. So if VR delivers that sort of experience now, I think in future we might get to choose our reality, whether or not we're on a roller coaster.
Okay, so 2 questions for you, LJ. First, were you sick? And second, no, really, were you sick?
Of course not. No, this is my idea of fun. I know it's not for everyone, but this was actually at Europa Park. It's a theme park that's also a showroom for Mack Rides to sell roller coasters to other theme parks. I couldn't believe I got to do this for work. I also ate a lot of pancakes and wasn't getting sick on the roller coaster. It was basically roller coaster, pancakes, roller coaster, pancakes.
You're making it sound worse and worse. I hate roller coasters, so I would think the one benefit of doing it in VR was that you didn't need to actually go on the roller coaster as well. But you had to do both, which is like the ultimate torture. Well, it would be for me anyway. How many times did you go on it?
That interview was about 40 minutes worth, as I recall, so we were on it the whole time. I was quite happy to do it. I could do it all day. And years ago, I had the idea to ride roller coasters in virtual reality. And I was talking to theme parks, and a few of them said, oh, this isn't going to work. But now everybody's working on it. So we were right.
So I guess it could give a new lease of life to old roller coasters. You don't have to bake in the scenery or anything.
Exactly. You take a costly asset like a roller coaster, so that one was 30 years old, and you lengthen its viability. You adapt old technology with new technology to make it compelling again. And that's my kind of innovation.
Oh, LJ, thank you. Enjoy roller coasting. LJ Rich, everyone.
Yay! Thank you. Yay!
Ah. Okay, how are we doing? How's everyone doing? Is this okay? Is this going okay?
Yeah.
Okay. I've no idea what this sounds like. I know there will be sound issues. I know that I'm talking over Lara, she's talking over me, you're talking over the videos. Complete chaos. On TV, this will look magic. Also, as is the way with these live shows, this is the dress rehearsal. Okay, this is the first time we've actually had a run through. I think it's going to go on for another 3 hours. So I hope you've been to the lab. Let's
We would
move
love
on.
to talk to you more. It's a shame we can't interact more, but as Spencer says, we would still be here this time tomorrow and all the batteries will have gone.
I think last minute we decided we're going to take some audience questions in a bit. All right, so we've just inserted that. So the show's like gone like that. Anyway, now since I've been on Click since 2003, I phoned up the guy in charge, whose name is Richard Taylor, and I said, "Hello, can I come and work for you?" And he said no. And then I phoned him up again and said, "I already know how to use a camera," and he said, "Oh, we don't have to pay you for training. Come on in." And I joined as on a temporary 6-month contract in 2003, and then I just didn't leave. I'm happy to say that Richard and I became good friends, and we've made many brilliant, crazy, stupid features together. He's in San Francisco now, and he absolutely refused to get up at 4:30 in the morning to talk to us. So we've got this pre-recorded bit now, because it's a video. The sound will duck out as you laugh and stuff, so try not to find this bit funny. Here's Richard Taylor talking to me earlier.
Hey, Spen, how you doing?
I'm all right, and I'm really, really happy to see you. How are you, man?
Everything's very good, you know, all things considered. How are you?
Yeah, we're doing all right. I can't believe that we've stayed on air, but we have, and the show is still going on, as you know, because you watch every week, I'm sure.
Of course I do. Well, listen, you know, we started in 2000. We're going to be here in 2100. That's my prediction. Although,
oh my God,
it wasn't always clear that was going to be the case.
Yeah, what
Let's
was it
be
like
honest.
back at the beginning? Tell us.
Well, it was 2 men and a dog and a bit of tape and string, and that's how the program came together every week, pretty much. We had no studio. We had 1 day of filming every week with a professional cameraman, and we had to quickly teach ourselves the rest of it to put a 24-minute show on air. It was challenging.
And then somehow it's the behemoth that it is today. So thank you very much for starting us off on that journey. It's been brilliant.
Well,
Listen,
you know, it's always been a team effort, and it's the show that no one, including myself, can ever leave. I think pretty much all of us that were in the early days were on the show are still there today.
Yeah. Okay, right. So we asked you to choose some of your favourite bits. We're going to go back to 2004, first of all, to Japan, where you are wearing something totally bizarre. Let's have a look.
Well, here at Tokyo University, researchers have moved the ideas of science fiction one step closer towards reality. They've developed an optical camouflage system. The idea behind it is relatively simple. A camera projects an image of the background onto a coat like this, which is made up of thousands of tiny glass beads covered in aluminium. It's a retro-reflective material which shines the light straight back at the direction it came from. As you can see, the effect is pretty impressive.
As yet, though, this invisibility cloak is an optical illusion that wouldn't really fool anyone. And even for this rather crude incarnation, the conditions have to be just right. Not only is there lots of kit involved, but any movement and perspective behind the camera soon gives the game away, as does a change in angle by the viewer. Still, the cloak's inventor says all that is by the by.
The purpose of our study is not to make an invisible man. This is just a byproduct. The real purpose of our study is to establish augmented reality technology.
But what practical use would something like this have? Well, consider this, where a previously taken X-ray of the person is projected onto the retroreflective material, making it look as if you're seeing not through him, but inside him. Useful for surgeons hoping to pinpoint exactly where to operate and minimize invasive surgery.
Another example is within an aircraft, where the pilot can see the scenery beneath the floor so that he can land very easily.
The thing I love about Japan is it's one of those places where they're just always thinking 10 years ahead of everyone else. It just always feels like the future when you go there.
Yeah, I mean, that idea in particular was so left field, the idea of miniature cameras that then project the scene behind the tank onto the tank. Pretty crazy. Notice in the script I said 1 step closer to becoming fact. I mean, that particular idea never went anywhere, except there is actually a Canadian company that recently filed a patent for a different kind of invisibility technology, actually also intended for use mainly on the battlefield to cloak tanks and jets. And it's a material that kind of bends light, and they called it, it's very Bond-like, quantum stealth.
Quantum
material.
stealth.
That actually does look pretty good. Yeah, of course, right? Why not? You know, you've got to give it a sexy name. That's marketing 101.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, talking about sexy, let's look at something else that you've worn over the years, not just an invisibility cloak.
How about we don't?
This, you know what's coming. This was recorded in Dubai in 2010. We were doing a piece about the weird technology that you might want to use to try and stay cool in the heat. Here's Richard's serious journalistic report.
Now, the other thing that, of course, is indispensable in this kind of climate is something to protect you against the sun. And this is a UV meter that tells you how long you can sit out in the sun before you start doing any damage to your skin. It's especially useful for the kids.
Well, that's all very well, Rich, but the main problem I have out here is the heat. It can get up to 45 Celsius. The main question is what you do about that.
Well, Spen, it's all about the attire. So here's our top 5 guide to keeping cool when you're feeling the heat in Dubai.
Whoa, what a hottie! And he's not wilting in the heat. Ladies, a man who keeps his comestibles cool always pulls in the fans. 2 in the trousers and 2 in the jacket make this one very chilly chappy. Is that a battery pack in your pocket? Oh yes, it is. The Hydra Coach bottle monitors your every mouthful. The LCD readout telling you how much you've drunk, how often, and how much more you need to stop you turning into a prune. And if all else fails, slap on some skis and hurtle down the slope. Yes, it's a ski slope in the desert. The first of its kind in the Middle East, Ski Dubai has 5 runs and a chairlift. Our number 1 way to keep cool in Dubai, then, a ruddy ski slope in the desert.
Trust Dubai. Just trust
Yeah, I
Dubai.
noticed you stopped the VT just before you make a rather botched attempt to try and go down the slopes yourself.
Ah, you spotted that. Damn.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dubai is just one of those places where if they want to do something, they will, won't they? But just another one of the many places that you've taken us over the years.
Yeah, well, some of the places we went to, we were struggling in the opposite way to actually, get warm. We went to the Ice Hotel in Finland and spent the night there under maybe somewhat dubious editorial grounds to explain the technology of the Ice Hotel. We went to Namibia and we're trying to do some amazing stuff there. We did some really, crazy left field stories. I went to prisons in Brazil, for example. When I came out here to California, I started covering things like hoverboards, actual hoverboards made with magnets. So that was the idea. So it would literally just be hovering a few inches above the floor. And then I even went on a personal submarine. There's a company out here that does tourist adventures where you spend 6 hours, up to 6 hours, exploring a coral reef in your own personal sub. Pretty amazing.
Okay, well, and talking of crazy forms of transport, there was the time, I think, in 2011, where you and Mark ended up in some very unusual transportation on the vague premise that you were reviewing flight simulators. Yes?
It was a very serious story, actually, Spen, very, very serious. And I remember talking to my boss, Kerry, to see if she'd passed the idea in health and safety, because what we wanted to do was compare a computer flight sim with the actual thing, with us flying the planes and in actual in-air combat. So Mark and I took ourselves down to the local airfield, as you do, and explained the laser technology. And I mean, it wasn't fun. It just wasn't fun. It was something that we had to do because we needed to make that rigorous editorial comparison.
All right, well, Richard, we're going to leave you and we're going to play the clip. So thanks for joining us. Thank you for the show. Mwah. Love you, man. See you soon.
Be well.
But if you really want to experience the highs and lows, the thrills and spills of flying,
you leave terra firma completely.
Which is why we've made this arduous trek to this airfield in Southern California. I'm feeling the need.
Leave it.
The need for speed.
There's a $5 fine for every Top Gun reference.
I've got that loving feeling, though.
Air Combat pits would-be fighter pilots against one another in real aircraft. Thankfully, the combat is simulated. Everything else, however, is real.
So what we're doing here is essentially playing laser tag in the skies. These babies are equipped with smoke generators so that when I score a direct hit on the chisel, he'll know about it. His plane will be up in smoke.
I can see him.
Anticipate where he's going. He's going more right. Okay, come on, bring it right, hard right. Yeah, see, that's it. When his wing deflects, you got to deflect your wing.
Yeah.
Shoot it. Pull the trigger. Track it. You guys got to pull the trigger. There it is.
Okay, pull up it. Put this right on the tail.
I've got you, chisel.
Back to the right. Easy. Ah. There you go. Pull it. Gun. Track it. All right. This one, knock it off.
This is Ghost Rider, seeking permission to pass the tower.
Okay, you realise that is $25.
So, Chisel, 3-2, but hey, it looks like you've lost that love and feeling.
You realise that's now $70 that you owe me and the guys at the fighter.
But it's just gone.
So there he is, Richard Taylor. The other face in that piece was, of course, Mark Chislak, who's been watching that clip. Can we get him up now? Hey, Mark, where are you? Let's have a look at you.
Hi there, Sven.
Hey. Rich.
Hey. Hi, Mark. Hey, audience. Hi, Laura, as well.
Rich was properly throwing that plane around. I remember you telling me at the time.
Oh yeah, and also just looking at that, I'm surprised we didn't get a BAFTA because the quality of the acting in there is top drawer, absolute top drawer. Yeah, Rich was really ill after that because he was chucking that plane around the sky like they were going to take it off him. If you have a look, if we can wind the tape back and have a look at his face, you can see that the instructor who sat next to him, he was like a 60-year-old guy who used to be a real Top Gun pilot. And his composure is absolutely fantastic. It's like, he is completely smooth and calm, not a hair out of place. And then you have a look at Richard, and he looks like Roger Moore in Moonraker when he's being chucked around the centrifuge. Like we put him inside a barrel and rolled him down a hill. Every bit of tension and cabling in his neck going.
He's adrenaline junkie, that's our Rich. Okay, right, anyway, let me give you your proper introduction, okay? So he is our gaming specialist. He also loves the cinema. Every year when we went to the E3 Video Games show, he would try and think of more and more ridiculously cinematic ways to explain the latest video games news. He had a dressing up box like I've never seen. Run the video.
Here he is as a cowboy up against Mario.
Of course, Nintendo will beat Sony and Microsoft to the draw.
Here he is running in slow motion into battle.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the console wars.
Here he is inside a VR video game.
If VR's going to make it to the next level, developers have to design bespoke experiences for VR goggled gamers.
And here he is inside a computer, living out his 1982 boyhood fantasy. Watch out, Mark! There's a visual effect straight ahead!
I love that long lingering shot at the end. So what is it with you and doing these? I tell you what, before we talk about that, I remember you filming that Tron piece, right, with the bit where you flew through the air. It's very impressive. People were asking how you did it. Do you want to tell them, or shall I?
Yeah. I mean, there's some very careful editing going on there as well, Spencer, because you were involved in every single one of those packages, dressed up just as much as I was. But that particular sequence with me flying through the air, I sort of pondered and thought, how could we do this? And we recorded it just behind our desks in the office. office against a green screen, and we use a really, really high-tech bit of kit to make it work, and that is an office chair with the back removed. I'm lying on my side in costume bought from, I think, a children's joke shop or something like that. I'm lying on my side, the camera is rigged up, and we have another member of the team who is beneath me, who is spinning the chair around to give it the effect that I'm falling through the air. The one bit of that is absolutely real is, of course, the scream at the end. I really do scream that long and loud.
Of course you do. What was it with the outfits, though? There really was a stage where we barely saw you in your own normal clothes.
I had a discount at a fancy dress shop, so I had to use it. Use it or lose it, Laura. So that was it. I thought I'd introduce it in some of the packages.
So you love these cinematic setups. So I remember Mark once directed a whole opening sequence where I had to bury a computer in the Nevada desert because it was about the death of the computer. We went to a hardware store, didn't we? We've just got to remove. No offence, but we've got someone popping up as a spotlight there. So we went to a hardware store in America and we bought a computer case and a shovel, didn't we? And those American shovels, they're proper murder shovels, aren't they?
Oh yeah, it was really, really apt. It was brilliant.
And that was in the desert, and we buried the computer.
That was one of the most fun shoots that we've had in a really, really long time. And the great thing is about shooting out in the Nevada desert, it's incredibly cinematic. Wherever you point the camera, it looks like a movie set. Although surprisingly, in January, the middle of the desert is actually quite cold. Yeah. So we had to have quite big coats that we threw on off camera.
I can imagine. And all of this would have taken a lot of planning, but I know that you are the only member of the Click team who actually does full storyboards before you go out to film. You tried to get me to do it, but I can't even draw a stick person, so I wouldn't have understood my own instructions.
I still have your storyboard, Lara, and I'm keeping that as my retirement gift to myself. I'm going to put it online, and you're going to have to pay quite a significant ransom for that. People not to see that.
Oh no, it's blackmail.
I bet.
And 2021 in gaming, well, most conferences have gone online this year. Do you think that we'll see shows like E3 in LA come back? Or have we now just moved away from the big, expensive conferences?
Oh, I think they're going to come back. This year has kind of proven to us that trying to do all of those big shows online, you just don't get the level of excitement that you do when you're in the conferences, when you're chatting to the people that have made those games, all of that kind of stuff. As a journalist, you don't get the same level of access. You don't get to talk to the people that have made the games in the same way. So for me, and also a lot of people that I've spoken to over the course of the year, I think there will be some really, really big in-person video games conferences come back as soon as they are able to come back. Whether that will be next year, we'll have to wait and see. But I think from the perspective of a lot of the people making games and a lot of the people actually making the hardware as well, this year hasn't really worked for them trying to do everything online. But hey, that's the same all over with almost every single industry. 2020 hasn't worked for anybody.
Well, let's hope for the best for 2021. Everyone, Mark Chislak.
Yay!
Tell you what, though, I think this online show's going all right, don't you?
Yes,
all right.
Absolutely. Excellent.
Now, look here, right? So very last minute, we decided let's put some audience questions in. So, because some of you have been sending us questions. First of all, can we spotlight Damien Armstrong, please? Can we see Damien Armstrong? It might take a couple of minutes to get up. It's Damien Armstrong's 50th birthday yesterday. So happy birthday, Damien.
Happy birthday!
Thank you. And you can go now. That's it. All right. We've got Kitty, Romana and Pete who are trying to find the people that we're going to talk to now. So I promise I'll do them in the order that's in the list here. Do we have Sally Butcher or maybe Sally Butcher's husband? Can we see you? There you go.
Hello.
How are you doing, Sally?
Oh, hello.
Yeah, good, thank you.
So you asked us a couple of questions. Thank you so much for being here. And it looks like you're being suspended above a very expensive tile floor, just to say.
Green t-shirt.
Green t-shirt. But it's the background. I'm loving the background. Your husband asked, will teletransportation ever be possible? Is that right?
He's a Trekkie and he's just waiting for that moment.
Okay. Can I give you my thoughts on teleportation? It's the way it's going to work is they're going to deconstruct your body, scan it, atom by atom, deconstruct your body, send the data a million miles away and build you out of a big vat of chemicals at the other end. So that's how I think teleportation is going to work, which means every time you teleport, you die. And a zombie is built at the other end. So that's my thoughts on that. Can you pass that on to your fella?
I will do. Thank you very much.
Where are you, by the way, Sally?
Sorry?
Where are you?
I'm in Peckham in South East London.
Okay, much love to Peckham. Thanks for being there. It really
Thank
means a lot
you.
to us. All right. Sally, everybody. We never talked about how many of these we would go through. So where's Michelle Phillips? Is Michelle Phillips around?
Hi.
How you doing?
Hey. I'm good. You?
Yeah.
I know you've just been asked.
I'm buzzing. What has been Michelle, you asked what's been our most challenging but favourite thing to film? Thank you for your question. Lara, what would you say?
Oh, well, about 8 years ago, I went to go and film a robot that was trained to work in hospitals. A humanoid robot was walking around the room. I was there earlier in the day when they were setting everything up and we were getting ready for what we were going to do. The robot was practicing and it was incredible. It was walking around this bed, picking up a tray, delivering things. It was a bit slow, but it was really clever. And right now, when you don't want people who work in the hospital necessarily getting too close to patients, it would have been amazing. It was seriously impressive. Later in the day, it came to time to film. We were all ready. A lot of press were there already. And there were so many people connected to the Wi-Fi that the robot's connection to the Wi-Fi went down and the robot wouldn't move. They'd achieved something so amazing and then the Wi-Fi went down. Come on.
I tell you, we're promised by so many PRs this thing will work, and then we get there and we hit film. We call it the first law of click. Things stop working when we hit record. Thank you so much, Michelle.
Thank you.
Much love. I think Michelle's a lunch clubber, actually, aren't you?
Yeah,
You're a lunch clubber.
yeah.
Oh, right. See you for lunch. See you for lunch later. Let's go. Okay, so we've got Angie DeFreitas on next. Hey, Angie.
DeFreitas.
How are you, Angie?
Jamaica.
Oh my God, Jamaica's in the house. Okay. Oh.
Hey,
so Angie, you asked what are the best ways for young people to learn about combining traditional careers with 21st century technology-based ones?
That's right. We're very kind of old school here. Everybody wants to do the same old traditional things. So I think there must be a way of combining things.
Yeah, well, I mean, what do you reckon, Laura? The world is changing. The skills needed by the next generation are changing. I've heard that the jobs that, say, my kids will have when they're older haven't been thought of or invented yet. So
exactly, you wouldn't even necessarily know that they existed. And something there's a lot of focus on whenever I go out and do pieces about jobs of the future and what kids need to learn, that it's very much about learning the skills of problem solving. And of course, technology and jobs in that are going to keep evolving. So a lot of what they're learning now, they're going to have to keep on updating learning. So it's a difficult one, really, isn't it?
It's also about having a very creative mind. And being very innovative and seeing what the world needs and how they can provide it, I assume.
I think you're right. It's about creative thinking. AI is going to do all the mundane stuff like robots did in the past, and we're going to be left hopefully with the creative stuff. And then the AI starts painting, as we've seen, and making music, and then we're all then there's basically running and screaming, and that's it.
And dancing, belly dancing as well.
Yeah,
Angie,
unless the Wi-Fi connection goes.
Angie, thanks so much for your question. Thank you.
Absolutely loving it.
Angie in Jamaica, everybody. All right, I think we're being told we've got to move on now, so let's move on. But thank you so much for your questions. It means so much to us that you're real and you're there. Right, so from almost the very beginning of Click, one person has spent a lot of her time guiding us through the web, finding the biggest, best, worst and weirdest websites in Webscape. Let's run the video. So we've stuck her in front of screens, we've stuck her in a weird bright white living room, in huge virtual sets, and sometimes in front of a load of garden trellises. Please welcome everybody, Kate Russell. Yay! Kate Russell, everybody.
Yay! Hello.
Believe it or not, I was actually green screened into the front of those trellises at one point as well, because that was actually in the basement of a disused restaurant in the BBC. We had that for a while. And then we lost the use of it, and so we filmed the set empty, and I think for about a year we green screened me into that set.
Oh, Kate, it's great to see you, but what's going on? You're not alone. Are they ferrets?
Yeah. Never mind cats going in front of your cameras. I'm the only guest you've ever had who's got a very real risk of having a ferret go up her trouser leg.
Oh, amazing. I need to come and visit them when it's allowed.
Well, this is what I do. So basically, when lockdown hit, I decided to do something with my life. So I installed 6 high-definition cameras into a purpose-built ferret enclosure. This is Scruffles, this is Wriggles. And we stream live to ferrettube.live 24/7. YouTube channel, just basically, we're bending technology. If you want to talk about the kind of tech that we've bent for Click, we've got Internet of Things, Wi-Fi, bots, everything. I've got my cables being pulled down by a ferret, and it's all just to bring you cute and fluffy on the internet.
Can I ask a question? Two-part question. Have they bitten through the wires or weed on the kit?
No, I kept them locked in until just 5 minutes ago. I was actually a bit concerned because I brought them out during Mark's piece, thinking that it would be me next, and they've been trying to cause mayhem during the audience questions.
Can I ask, why ferrets?
Do you know what? I went on a walk during lockdown, and I was trying to figure out what I'd do to spend to keep me occupied, and I found an abandoned sick ferret. So I scooped it up, brought it back, took it to the RSPCA, and in researching how to look after it in the interim, I was like, these things are cute, the internet needs more of them. So that's what I do.
Okay, you're so kind-hearted.
Well, we're actually going to take rescue ferrets in next year as well, so I'm just learning how to care for them at the moment.
Yeah, you look like you're doing a pretty good job. Now, over the years, we've been to NASA a fair bit. It's brilliant. You literally can say, I wonder what's going on behind this door. Open it and there'll be some amazing spaceship concept, or there'll just be gases venting out of a building. This, Kate, is your most memorable piece from 2017, Space Robots.
Meet Superball, a tensegrity robot in development at NASA Ames. This lightweight, sphere-like matrix can be packed down flat, taking up minimal space in a rocket and vastly reducing launch costs.
Because of the unique structure of this robot and the fact that it can deform and reform itself and take massive impacts, eventually NASA will be able to literally throw it at the surface of a planet, and its scientific payload in the middle will be protected. It's bouncy.
Once deployed, Superball can handle much rougher terrains than a rover, rolling right over obstacles and up and down hills. It should even be able to survive falling off a cliff.
So, biggest question perhaps of the day for me, can I drive K-Rex?
Definitely. Let's have you do that.
Now, lots of you think we Click reporters have the best jobs in the world, but after spending a day at the Roverscape testing ground, I think there's another contender for that title.
Look at that face. That is the face of a kid in a toy shop there. And look what you were driving the robot with.
My whole life, people have said, stop wasting your time playing games, and there I am at NASA driving the Mars rover with a PlayStation controller.
That's what they say, though, isn't it? That the next generation is so used to using games controllers that is the natural thing for them to control technology with. Any update on the NASA robots?
Well, NASA takes quite a long time to develop things and actually get them out into space, so no. But there is a team at UC Berkeley who are using that tensegrity design to protect flying drones. So that should be interesting. You'll be able to fly your drones into things and they'll just bounce back and keep flying.
Here's something else I remember from the same trip, okay? If we could run this next bit of video. This goes to show how spoilt we are on Click, okay? With the amount of amazing things that we've seen, if you want to impress us, the bar is set really high. So Kate is filming this amazing monkey robot that's going to climb around a space station in the future, building things and fixing things. It's doing all of these incredible things, transforming from walking mode into climbing mode. Meanwhile, I'm sat on the other side of the glass, taking a break. I'm just checking Twitter. I'm just ignoring completely ignoring this amazing machine. Yeah,
we see the most incredible things.
Yeah. Listen, Kate, thanks for joining us from your ferret tube.
Thank you for having us.
All right.
I am actually about to get a ferret go up my trouser leg now, so that'll be
Well,
good.
what better reason to leave
Probably
us?
the right time to say goodbye.
All right, it's Kate Russell, everybody.
It has been said that once you join Click, you never really leave. And that means that a couple of the newest members of our team have actually been with us for quite a while. Let's cross to them now. Please welcome Omar Mehtab and Paul Carter. Hello, how are you?
Hey.
Hello.
How's it going, everyone?
Great to see you. You've been doing some really fun stuff for us this year. What's it been like coming to join the Click family?
You know what? I mean, that was about 3.5 years ago. And when I came in, the first thing I noticed is that everyone is really different and unique, and they've got their own quirks, but it was all really lovable, and everyone was so unique, and so it's really been great to just get along with them, get to know them over the years.
That's a lie. Paul?
It's true. I mean, I was just going to say it's a very similar thing. I mean, one of the beauties of this team, and hopefully it comes across on air, is that we're not just colleagues. We are genuinely all mates, and we all get on and we all like each other, and hopefully that comes across. So yeah, I agree with Omar 100%.
It's so true, and I third all of that. Paul, you picked something from all the way back in 2018, the days when we could all hug each other. Can you explain what it is we're about to see?
That's right, yeah. Me and Omar went to Switzerland to check out some new tech around firefighting. Switzerland isn't the first place that comes to mind when you think of fire, but we went to check out a device to help firefighters detect heat in a burning building, and also something I was very pleased about, a firefighting train.
Okay, as we play this clip, just to say, being filmed in slow motion automatically looks cool, but how extra cool do you look wearing a display over your eye inside a firefighter's mask next to some fire? Play the clip.
For firefighters, it's often the things they can't see that are the most dangerous. The helmet I'm wearing has a thermal imaging camera fitted to the side. What's unique is that it incorporates a small Google Glass style heads-up display. It's visible over one eye, giving firefighters thermal imaging without obscuring their normal vision.
So I'm going to use it going into this very smoky room and see what I can see. Luckily it's not too smoky in here at the minute, and I can actually still see it, but once this smoke actually really starts to get up, as strange as it may sound, my view of that fire is going to completely disappear. Now, Switzerland may not be the first place that comes to mind when you think of fire. But it's surprisingly advanced when it comes to firefighting tech. For example, it's the only country in Europe to have a firefighting train. This cabin's actually pressurised, so in the event of a fire, this can be operated as a safe breathing environment. This bad boy is one of 16 in use across the country, and it's an absolute beast. But let's be honest, fighting fires is the coolest thing this train can do. Also, a foam cannon. It can also create a curtain of protection, a mist of water that blankets around the train, providing a protective area from smoke and chemicals. Awesome. It's amazing. I was over there with him filming Paul, and I was there working my socks off, and then I turn around and I just see him grinning from ear to ear, like just loving it being on that train. It was like the most wholesome thing ever. Well, I mean, I think that's the only time on Click where I've ever gone full Alan Partridge in a voiceover, which is it's an absolute
foam
delight.
Cannon.
I mean, that was absolutely.
To Omar, and we'll go all the way back to 2019, which was a different world in so many ways. You met Sam Battle. Tell us about Sam Battle.
So Sam Battle is a musician and YouTuber who loves tinkering with old tech. And so he's got a whole load of old speakers, you know, Game Boys. He also had like a Furby organ. He got like 30 of them and he was playing music with it. It was really weird. That sounds demonic.
Oh, it is demonic.
But what else has he got in his studio?
This is basically a 48 Game Boys, and it basically sounds like an orchestra. For instance,
but after a quick modification, the keyboard doesn't just play Game Boys anymore.
I was very close to that. Oh, no!
Okay, yay! I get it. That's awesome.
Is your hair okay?
Bye. He also has a bike that, when pedaled, powers a synthesizer. Oops. Right, let's give that another go. I'm making music. This is the most musical I've ever been. Hold on to me, Sam. Come on. Hold on. That's it.
Did you squeal there, Omar, by the way?
I was going to say, Omar, that was some squealing going on there.
The reason I squealed is because just before we turned the cameras on, we were testing out the flamethrower, and it went so big that it singed his hair. And so I was genuinely fearful. Like, okay, let's calm down a little bit, you know?
So it's amazing to think, really, isn't it, that 15 years ago, YouTube was already a thing, but the concept that people could carve out huge careers online just didn't seem real at the time, did it?
No, it didn't. And, you know, I mean, we've gone from people making online videos and showing them, you know, around the world to now, you know, people's careers getting so big. I mean, we've got Floyd Mayweather Jr. fighting a YouTuber soon, and that's based off the back of his fame that he's built up online. So you can actually build a real proper career out of this, and it's only going up and up. Seems like there's no end.
Totally. Omar, Paul, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Next up is Jen Coatstake. Jen, welcome.
Hi.
Jen, good to see you. Jen joined Click back in 2013 and has been super busy over the last year especially, covering health tech pieces during the pandemic. She's been all over the world for the show as well, to Israel, Las Vegas, China. How's it all been for you, Jen?
It's been absolutely amazing, and it's so lovely to see everybody today. My favorite times, I think, on the show, though, have been in China. There's been some incredible technology that I've seen there, and one of the most amazing things is actually getting to play sport with robots. And since I've been to China, I've actually played football with a goalkeeper in Manchester. BBC, ready to BBC, BBC, here we go!
Was that a good goal? I've got no idea. I'm clueless about these things. I would have lost my shoe. My shoe would have gone in as well. So, so this is some sports technology that you've chosen for your other favourite clip. Can you tell us what we're going to see?
Yes, of course. So I love playing sport. I play squash regularly and tennis with humans. But this was in Chengdu in central China. It was on a trip that we were on together, Spencer. We started in Beijing. And we traveled all around, we split up, and I went to central China, which is home to these wonderful pandas. It's very famous for a panda sanctuary. But also there was an incredible university that was developing this robot, and I had no idea what I was about to see when I walked into the room. Oh my goodness, it's actually really intimidating. Whoa.
The robot is designed to be as much like a human player as possible. Its eyes are the HD cameras at the back of the court. These computers send prediction data on where the shuttlecock will fall back to the robot via Bluetooth. Its hands are rackets. The information received needs to be millimeter accurate for it to get shots back.
Oh! 我们是参加这个亚太大学生机器人大赛的这个电子科大的参赛队伍，所以我们其实相当于说是学生去参赛制作不同的这个机器人的作品。
And did you win the competition?
Yeah, of course, champion. Our company name is champion.
No arguing there.
Oh dear, a fall at the end. I don't know much about badminton or football, but I'm assuming that was a good shot. Is there any more news on the badminton robot?
Yeah, they're all taking part in competitions, and there's different companies and universities across China who are developing these robots, and they're winning competitions. So it's really incredible.
Oh wow! It seems that there a few years ago there was just a point at which stuff like this just started to get really good. Whether it's the sensors, the processing, the batteries, I don't know what it is. Jen, thanks for joining us. You've got the most zen background of all the Click team. It's Jen Copestake, everybody. We got I hope we're not taking up too much of your time. We've got 2 more members of the Click team to meet. So. Let's go on with the next one. Now, we've tried some world firsts over the years, and one member of the Click fam has been instrumental in all of them, I think. He's built games for us on our live shows. He's made his balls levitate on stage. He has a massive brain. Please welcome Stephen Beckett.
Hello.
Is your brain available to chat at the moment?
Oh, my brain, yes.
There we go.
Brain engaged. You can talk to
it.
It's ready for guests.
Is that a 3D printer behind you?
I've got a 3D printer here. It's one of my lockdown hobbies that I've been developing. Stuff you can do indoors. It's a good one. It's not quite ferrets, so unfortunately, but...
No, the ferrets are going to win, aren't they? Listen, we did the first TV show a few years ago that was filmed entirely in 360, so you could, as an audience member, you could look around. What do you remember about that? Because that was your baby.
I remember it being basically incredibly difficult because I don't know if you have an experience with 360 5 years ago or whatever it was very, very difficult. It's quite hard now, but it was even harder then. You essentially had to get 6 GoPros and sort of sellotape them together, whatever you could, just to get them to work. And then, in this show, we went underground into CERN, and then a few days later we were up on a glacier. It was absolutely amazing. But I don't know if you've noticed this as you're walking around outside. Maybe it's a bit cold. Coldness kills batteries. So when you've got 6 GoPros, sellotaped together, that can get pretty hairy.
Yeah. What did they tell you about walking off when we were on the glacier as well?
Yeah, just a casual little warning: don't walk off, or you could fall in the crevasse.
There you go. And of course, the thing about 360 is you've got to let the audience look around, and so we just had to choose these spectacular locations, didn't we? Like a glacier in Switzerland and the Large Hadron Collider. Just had to happen. If you've seen the 360 show, you can still watch it on YouTube. You might have not seen Steve talking on the show, but he's always there in shot, because in 360, nothing is out of shot, is it? And there's one scene where he's sat randomly in a chair cuddling a soft toy while I'm talking. So if you look behind you, he's just randomly there. And for most of it, he's carrying the 360 camera, say, along the Large Hadron Collider on a stick, which means as you're journeying down this tunnel, if you turn your head, he's just... looks like that.
I think the expression was a bit more severe, actually, because based on the YouTube comments, that's got like a couple of million views, I reckon, on the BBC YouTube channel.
Need to talk, Stephen, man.
Let's talk, George. Right. If you look at the comments there's a lot of people saying that I look quite upset, that I should have a raise, which I do agree with, but
Now, we're always talking about how good AI is and the sorts of things it can and can't do. In 2015, we decided to try and teach an artificial intelligence to walk. Now, this is something that Steve programmed. No expense was spared. We actually built a whole castle and everything for it. The Mad Inventors Lab. Here's edited highlights.
So this is a game called QWOP, so cool because it uses letters Q, W, O and P to control the character.
Right.
The aim of the game is to run along this racecourse just using those letters to control its legs. It's actually very, very difficult to control him.
Extremely difficult, especially on a completely imaginary computer. Yeah, okay, I'm rubbish.
Yeah, you're rubbish. It's very difficult, so keep on falling over.
Okay,
yeah.
Good. Now, Stephen has used, correct me if I'm wrong, a type of artificial intelligence called a neural network.
Yes.
Now, there are many different ways of moving about on 2 legs, but there are no guarantees that our neural network will settle on that good old left-right thing. In fact, QWOP Man seems to have settled on this kind of shuffle, and this is the method it's now refining. But then, in a moment of realization, he cracks it.
What are you doing?
Well, I've just been making a few changes to the system, and I think I've had a breakthrough.
Okay, show me.
Okay, you ready?
Yep. Oh, right. You couldn't have used this enormous numbers earlier.
No, I was saving it for dramatic effect.
And there's the 100 metres. I have never seen this part of the game before.
Come on, come a little cute. Come on, pop it.
Yes, finally, it happened. QWOP Man had not only shuffled and shimmied, but he'd made it across the finish line.
QWOP! Great. That was totally worth every bit of the castle building, everything. It was.
I think so. Don't worry, we'll open it to tours in a few years' time. We'll work for Harry Potter.
So, what do you remember about that, Steve? I mean, AI just seems to be able to do more and more.
There's a lot to say. I mean, the haircut. That way, we could start with that. I mean, that's a bit problematic. The special effects, amazing. That wasn't actually a real set. That was special effects. In case
was
you
it
were
not?
curious. Yeah, no. The keyboard shot gave it away for me. And then there's the fantastic acting abilities that demonstrated by us both. I mean,
marvelous,
amazing.
So AI is this. In some ways, it's a simple concept, isn't it? It's brute force. You chuck it a problem, and it tries millions of times, getting it wrong most of the time, occasionally getting it right, and then taking that answer and improving it by trying millions and millions of times again. That's basically how AI works in a nutshell.
You've summed it up. That's the whole field of research. You've done it. But I mean, in the case of this QWOP, it played the game thousands or hundreds or thousands of times, and eventually, kind of through genetic, a bit like evolution, it figured out the best way. The best way it could find to move along that racetrack. Whether or not you choose to do it that way, I'll leave that for you to decide. But it was the best it could find.
Is that technology is freely available now. That's commoditized. You can just use that kind of AI learning. That's what you did. You built the QWOP Man on free software, didn't you?
Yeah, I mean, it's all open source, a lot of it. I mean, a lot of these discoveries are becoming more part of the public domain, and the tools are becoming easier to use. You know, an analogy I would use is you look at TikTok and what that's done for kind of video editing, and it's made it much more available to everyone. Well, we're heading in that direction, I think, with AI. Obviously, we're quite a few years away from that. But we're starting to get tools that can make some of these things without necessarily being a programmer or having technical skills like that.
Well, listen, Steve, it's been brilliant catching up. But what are you 3D printing today, by the way?
Well, what I need to 3D print is the camera mount to go on for my phone that's slowly falling off.
All right. We'll whip one up. And Steve and Beckett, everybody.
Yay!
All right, okay. Now, the thing about working on Click is it is a sticky job, as you've heard. It's addictive, it's brilliant, it's always different, and that makes it a very hard job to leave, which is why no one ever has. So when Nick Queck told us that he was leaving and going to Australia, we thought, nah, you're not really though, are you? That's not the last that we're going to see of you. And he's been doing some brilliant reports for us from Australia. He's now finished his year there. Right now, he is on a plane on the way back. We did talk about doing this over Wi-Fi, but no. So I caught up with him earlier during his stopover in Dubai. Here's Nick.
Spain! No! What's happening? What's happening?
How are you, my man? I've missed you so much.
How are you, Spenley? I've missed you oh so much.
Oh my goodness. So it doesn't seem for me a year ago since we kind of sent you on your way, but has time flown for you? I mean, it's unbelievable to think you're on your way back now.
It's gone like that, honestly. I can't believe how much it's flown by, but it's been pretty amazing. I've been gallivanting around Australia, eating a bit of kangaroo. I shouldn't say that. Swimming with crocodiles. Shouldn't say that either. But anyway, it's been brilliant.
Have you done anything that we can talk about in front of an audience?
No, can't say it. Can't say
normal
anything.
Life
really,
as normal then. And knocking out the occasional Click report as well. I have to say, man's got to pay his way somehow. Thank you so much for the stuff that you've done over there. I mean, they've been beautiful reports from beautiful locations. Thank you.
Not at all. It's been brilliant to just capture different stories and issues as I've been travelling around, really. So I managed to get up to the Great Barrier Reef. Managed to visit one town which was hilariously really famous for cattle. Called Rockhampton. So I managed to have a steak there. So it was good. It's been really good.
I'm starting to regret asking all these questions. Listen, how long have you been on the programme? Because you've had to think about your favourite clip to choose. So how long have you been there, and what sort of things did you think about when choosing your clips?
Too long. Too long is the answer. I think my first day was in February 2011, so about 9 years ago now. And I actually remember the first day that I turned up at the BBC in W12, where we were back then. And the first person I saw was Richard Taylor, who collected me from reception. And the first thing I said to him was, "Ah, you're Richard off the telly." And he said, "That's not creepy at all." And then he led me upstairs and basically didn't speak to me for the next 2 weeks until I think he spotted me at the corner of his eye in the office, like, "What are you still doing here?" But anyway, I managed to cling on in there, and yeah, here we are.
What clips did you think about choosing for your favourite clip?
Yeah, so I guess over the years I've been a bit of a guinea pig, really. At one point I had a pair of electric shorts on my legs and I was being zapped around Germany. Another time I got the fright of my life as I went through a zombie VR experience. And then I guess one of the most memorable things was meeting a guy in Marseille who invented a hoverboard.
Yeah, so this is the clip we're going to play, right? And you had to go to the south of France to film this. And I wonder whether you were looking for tech stories and just happened upon one that was in the south of France, or whether you actually Googled south of France technology stories.
Well, I got to have a romp around Marseille, sample the local delicacies.
All right, stop.
All in the name of
just stop and introduce this clip. Tell us what we're going to see and who we're going to see.
Yeah, so when I heard that this world jet ski champion had decided to make a new contraption where he attached these really powerful water jets, firstly on the back of a kind of skateboard to propel him into the air, then a jet ski so he could do backflips into the air, and then finally decided to put some petrol-powered jet engines strapped to his legs and blast off into the stratosphere, I had to go and take a look.
All right, this is Frankie Zapata.
So if one of these 5 engines blows, then...
It's still flying. You can lose 2 engines and still flying. The explosion will be contained by some Kevlar protection.
The explosion?
If it explodes.
How hard can it be?
Oh yeah!
I can hear the jets firing up now. Frankie's ready for takeoff.
He's off! He's off! He's off!
Look at him go! That's amazing! See you later. I'm off on the hoverboard. Look at a selfie.
Always with the selfie as well. That was incredible.
What am I doing? And what's that outrageous shirt I'm wearing as well? I mean, Jesus, I can't believe that. But anyway, that was hilarious.
So you tried the less deadly version yourself. What was that like?
Yeah, I did, yeah. So I tried the water-powered version, which was absolutely brutal. I don't think I've ever had so many painful muscles afterwards of doing any activity ever. Yeah, I've never had so much salt water up my nose in such a short period of time. Yeah, it's pretty brutal.
And you've been following Frankie Zapata's career since then. Tell us what he's doing now.
Yeah, so the guy's actually attempted to cross the English Channel. He did it once and he failed, but then he managed to do it a second time. And now he has actually decided to make a flying car, which sounds very safe indeed. So yeah, look forward to seeing that.
Guess who we'll be sending to report on that story? Nick, I can't wait to see you again, man. It's been so nice catching up, and thanks for doing all you've done.
That's all. Thank you, Sven. Can't wait to see you.
Well done.
Thank you so much. Bye.
That was Nick, who right now is several airline meals into his flight home. I just want to say, it just occurred to me, where he was mentioning the electric shorts that gave him shocks, he said he was zapped around Germany. I'm glad he wasn't zapped around the Baltics. Anyway, we are nearly, that won't make the TV version. We're nearly at the end of the show now. So I just have to say, we've been so lucky to see all these things and go to all these amazing places, and we will again. You know, 2021 sounds like it's going to be better than 2020. Lara, of all the places that you've got to go, can you just say one place that really sticks out? Is it possible to have one place?
Yes, it's difficult, but it has to be my trip to Norway. We did a sustainability special, and I think this shoot is something that will really stick with me forever. We went out on the fjords with an underwater drone, and you're there in a boat on the fjords with the most stunning surroundings. Then you see what's going on under the water. It was really quite something. If you want to see what goes on beneath the surface, where everything looks completely immaculate above it, this is a real eye-opener, because this underwater drone could see plastic all over the surface. There are apparently cars under there as well. We didn't actually see any on our trip, but the people I was out with had seen them before, where cars had just been dumped on the ice and the ice had broken and the cars had fallen into the fjords. And the other thing that happened on this trip was I was very worried about Omar. Now, Omar will do anything for a great shot. He will get himself in the most ridiculously hazardous situations, always within the realms of BBC health and safety rules, I'm sure.
Of course.
And he fell in the ocean so many times. Luckily, Omar was all right, and we did come back with some amazing footage. But Spencer, you've been on the show even longer than I have. You've been on a lot of adventures. What have the highlights been?
You know, I've put this program together. I've put the 20th birthday program and the 1000th birthday, the 1000th episode program together last year, and I could have made each of those programs 50 times over with different footage. We've done so much. I mean, you know, what's my best bit? Crying inside the Large Hadron Collider? I don't know. Was it playing tennis with a flying drone? Was it taking over a Russian botnet? Was it walking through the Namibian red sand dunes? Was it seeing the disabled superhuman athletes at the Cybathlon? I mean, wasn't it just? Yeah, it was. So I've chosen something from 2015. So we went to South Korea and we went to a university which was building a robot that was going to compete in the DARPA Robotics Challenge. So this is a human-like assault course, and they had to build a robot that could drive a car, operate a drill, pick its way through rubble. The point being that you need to be able to send a robot, you might need to be able to send a robot into a human environment that's become unsafe. Maybe there's a fire, maybe it's filled with toxic fumes or whatever. While you're watching this clip of this amazing robot do its thing, also you might notice in the background a super excited little boy in a man's body bouncing like Tigger.
And never mind self-driving cars, this is a robot driving a car using controls that were made for humans.
It's got the hand on the wheel. Ah, yes. Turning the gas off.
Handling the drill is an even bigger test.
Robot DIY. He's feeling the resistance of the drill. Oh, yes! Is it wrong to say I'm ever so slightly in love? It's probably wrong, isn't it? What's it going to do? I don't know. This looks like a bit of a challenge here because there's a lot of debris to bulldoze through.
Yeah, he survived.
Now he's just got to go left, so he's pushing everything to the right. Oh!
This is dangerous. Okay. Okay, he survived.
I'm nervous now.
He escaped.
The last part of the test is to walk over some rough terrain, and for this, Hubo calls on his final bizarre form.
Bird walking.
Bird walking, yeah, okay. We're still going. This is the final part of the challenge. Yeah. It needs to mount the podium. Just doing it. Last step. Yeah. Last step, Hubo. I brought all the luck. He said, I brought all the luck. I brought all the luck. Look at that. And the amazing thing is that was the rehearsal for the DARPA Robotics Challenge. A few days later, Hubo went to America, took part in the DARPA Robotics Challenge, and came first. So we picked a winner.
I wouldn't say that we've become blasé about the wonder of some of these things that we see, but there are some funny conversations that go on in the office. Sometimes I would have been taking a phone call about a flying car, and I'll call across the office, we're not interested in the flying car, are we? Which, of course, seems completely ludicrous, but if there's not a working prototype, well, it's no use to us. But I guess some of these conversations, some of these things that go on behind the scenes are really just part of the fun.
They are. Listen, this has been a blast. We have made it well past our 20th birthday and through the toughest time I think any of us have ever seen. Lara, thank you. You're like the best co-host I could have wished for. Thanks for everything that you've done. You're a rock.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Stop it.
Lara Lonesome, everybody. Lara
Thanks everyone for coming.
And also, thanks to all the team who've turned up today. Thank you to the rather compact and bijou team behind the scenes who pulled this all together. Pete, Romana and Kitty. Don't get the director's name wrong. Pete, Romana and Kitty, thank you. And thanks to everyone who works tirelessly behind the scenes of Click, who you don't see. When I joined, I was employee number 4. Now we have many more people than that on the programme. I'm so proud of this programme. The stuff we've seen, the people we've met, the places we've been have been out of this world. And it has been such a privilege to have been on the programme so long, and such a joy to know that you lot are out there, and many of you have been with us for a long time too. So thank you for being there. It means so much to us. I hope that you have a restful and peaceful time off if you can. Here's to 2021. Thanks for watching, and we will see you soon. Bye.
Thank you for having us.